Welcome to One Word Stories. My name is Joanna Sell. It's episode 27, and I'm really happy to host a very precious friend of mine, Patricia Malidor-Coleman. Patricia is actually based in a place where everybody wants to go on holiday. So lucky her, she's in sunny Miami, and she doesn't have to go on holiday because she is on this spot, so to say. And this is what she communicates to the outside world right now when traveling became really tricky. Patricia is an expert in intercultural field and also offers diversity and inclusion excellence programs in the travel industry. And I'm really happy to host you today, Patricia, with your very positive energy and fantastic examples and stories from the diversity inclusion context from the travel industry. A very warm welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a true pleasure, as you know, anything for you.
Oh, thank you, Patricia.
I just love the work you do.
Oh, yeah, I love your work. And I'm very curious. Whatever you are offering, it has got so much power, so much energy, especially when people see also your background right now, they immediately get triggered. Exactly. There is an eye.
Yes, seeing beyond perception, beyond the unseen, and do you see me, which is a big sentence these days, right?
Yes.
Seeing the person truly for who they are.
Yes.
So
yes, amazing. I love it. I love it. You are known for the creativity, and you are also known for sharing incredible stories. So I'm really eager to hear how actually your journey started regarding intercultural field and also diving into the world of stories and working with stories.
Absolutely. Yeah, it kind of made sense for my personal story to be the center of my work. We know that especially intercultural coaching, diversity and inclusion work, it's so personal, sometimes so sensitive, and you have to be courageous, and you have to build a relationship and definitely trust with your participants, whether it's a group or one-on-one. And in my case, I really make myself vulnerable, and to show that I walk the talk, I tell my personal story of crossing cultures and not feeling comfortable. And it really started somewhere in the universe, because I think I was, as many people like yourself have been chosen to do this work, because we are put in situations where, we're resilient and we make it. So I was born and raised in Paris, France, the city of light, the city of love, where multiculturalism, yes, was kind of starting, but at the same time in the 60s and then 70s, there was still, multicultural race was still kind of an issue unless you were Sidney Poitier, Josephine Baker, right? But I'm a product of biracial parents, and so I always have this curiosity of, wow, why do I look this way? And I look different than my mom, my dad, and definitely my blonde and blue-eyed grandma. But I also was very lucky to grow up in a family where love, compassion, and understanding, especially when you overcome differences, which it was not easy, introducing a brown baby into the family. And I'm very proud of my entire family, but it really gave me an opportunity to see the uniqueness of my existence, the uniqueness of our family. But I faced very early on the looks of, what are you? Or people would speak in Arabic to me in Paris, right? Because they either thought I was Moroccan, Algerian, or Spanish, because I had lower brown skin. So you must have gone, you must either have gone on vacation in Spain, or you're from Spain, or yeah. So it created a curiosity for me, because on top of that, I love languages, and I loved German and Russian. Those were the languages that we learned then. And my father was in the Air Force. That's how he met my mom. So he spoke German. He was in the Air Force in Germany. So I had this love of it. So I'm getting to the part of my journey of why this story is so important, and why this, what are you? And, people were not sure of my nationality, how to approach me. And I saw such a difference, Joanna, on how people approach me, with love, with care, with sometime a look of not fear because I was a little girl, but just, you're less than or you're more than, again, based on perception. I did not know any of those words, but I could feel, right? So I definitely had intuition. And later on, this, what are you? You don't fit in. You're not Moroccan. You're not this. You're not that. I mean, I just knew that I was born in Paris and was French, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was a lot more to this brown skin, right? So one day, my father, with all his love, offered the best to my mom, which is, when you love somebody, you want to give them the world, right? And it said, how about if I took you to paradise? I'll do anything for you. So he taught my mom into moving where he was born, and which is in the French Caribbean. Can you imagine? Of course. What, little country girl who moved to Paris in a hard life, work, right? As we say in French, métro, boulot, dodo, work.
Exactly.
So she's, of course. And I tell this story all the time because Paris is my native city. It's my hometown. Martinique, French West Indies is my second home. I love the people. I love the place. But at first, I hated it. And there's nothing to hate about it because I felt the hate from people. I felt why is she there? And why is she? And who is she? And she's so arrogant. Because Joanna, you speak French. And you probably know that when you come from Paris with this Titi Paris accent, then the Caribbean people say, well, do you think you're better than us? And what have you? So I had this big identity crisis, and I could see it grow. But eventually, of course, my German and Russian love of languages had to step aside, and I had to learn English and Spanish. Thank God, because con una cara como eso, claro que.
Sí.
So right,
sí, señora.
So señora, and so I went, and this is a big question, my big journey took me to the US to study English and to do my studies. And of course, getting there, learning English was so hard because everybody spoke Spanish to me. There were so many Venezuelans, Cubans, Colombians. And I said, they're giving me an attitude, just like the people when I moved to the Caribbean. Why is everybody so this way, that way? So those stories are so important because you point the finger. They're wrong. I'm right, right? And you realize, this looking at me like I'm some extraterrestrial, like, where are you and where are you from, and I, slowly but surely said, it's about me. There's a self-consciousness, there's a doubt about myself, but let's turn this into a shift of consciousness of truly who you are, how you're seen, and how can you connect, because disconnection is the biggest evil in our work, whether it's intercultural, and even more in diversity and inclusion, right? If we don't have anything in common, there's no connection, and disconnection is usually when we're fear, difference, etc. So to push the forward button, finish my studies, started a career, fast track career in the travel industry in Miami Airport per se. And there we are, the fashion show, the role of cultures coming in and speaking different languages, having different expectations. And I was ready for that. I was trained for that my whole life, to truly receive all those differences and not take it personally, have this bubble. And I call it, instead of customer service, I call it service customized. And you and I have spoken, right? That I have a new name since it's been about now going on 6 years. It's Globaliscious, and there is an ST there that really captures a lot of how we should approach the world. And for me, customer service, yes, is great. Customer service excellence is great, but service customized, truly catered to the person. So that career took me into a responsibility of the LAC region, Latin America and Caribbean. And boy, from the history, from colonization to today's globalization and CARICOM, the Caribbean commerce, and the ups and downs of, government turmoils in Cuba, in Venezuela, Argentina. It's incredible what I learned. I was in the real school. So that all really, really gave me additional education besides, the typical bachelor's and MBA, truly great life experience. And I just navigated it with just, just it's okay.
Yeah.
Obstacles, I'm learning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So
Definitely.
my journey definitely is all about that. Yeah. I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
this was long, but that's what stories do, right?
Exactly. Thank you for sharing the stories, especially, the stories of the struggle with belonging. Yeah, because this is actually something that you also emphasized once in our conversation, that actually the biggest culture shock you experienced in Martinique, where actually you were supposed to feel really home.
Absolutely. I look like everyone. I had family there, roots there, there was no reason. Yeah, there was a support system, but again, the relationship wasn't built yet, but the trust, and there was more disconnection. There was more difference than similarities, or we didn't look at the similarities. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. That
yeah.
was very odd. And actually, I brought it up once, making a speech in one of my mom's association of actually expats going to Martinique. And she heard the story and said, I never knew that. And I think that's so
Mm,
important to speak to children when they move. And
mm,
now I reinforce that. I tell expats,
yeah.
please speak to your children. Tell them to express how they feel. Because would I say I don't feel like I belong and everybody hates me? Of course not. I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
grateful to be in paradise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for emphasizing, because this is actually also something whenever I have relocation programs and there are kids, that it's really part of the game, at least to talk to the parents. Yeah. In the optimum version would be to talk to the kids, of course. However, at least to talk to the parents and to draw their attention to exactly these dynamics you are emphasizing. Yeah. That they have
Yes,
so
exactly. And
many fears and they don't
absolutely.
understand so many dynamics
No.
that one can
Mhm.
really prepare them and also support them during the move. Definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's the same for because I was an international student, and as you know, I work with international students as well. And same thing, when you face the culture shock, who especially young people around the world have that American dream to come
Mm,
study in the U.S. So you're arriving, you're going through culture shock, you're homesick, your parents spend a lot of money to bring you there.
yeah,
Who are you to complain?
yeah,
But
yeah,
by then I learned to say, I'm going through this, but this is different. So this is going to be okay. I'm going to make the best of it. And I
yeah.
use my experience to tell people how I did it, right? Because I'm one of those examples. Yes, you can speak. You can speak English. You can master
Uh,
English. If I did it, you can.
you can even play with the language, because this is exactly what you did when you were so creative to have your own trademark with Globaliscious.
Yes,
And it
absolutely.
sounds even delicious. Yeah. So this is exactly the point, that you are, so to say,
Exactly.
spreading the sensation of really tasting the world. How do you
Yes.
do it?
Yes. Yes. Well, it's the I can't remember exactly how it came up, the word. I think it was just meant to be. But you're right. We hear Globaliscious actually keeping it confidential. I had a company asking me to remove the name from the introduction of myself as a keynote, because they were very conservative and didn't want, a word like Globalicious, delicious, or bootylicious. And it has no connection. But again, perception, right?
Yeah,
Because Globalicious is everything is beautiful,
yeah,
which
yeah,
again, I'm saying it seems like it is, but
yeah,
actually there's a hidden part, and where the SC of it in red in the logo
yeah.
really shows that. And I know you'll have it for people to see, but it really shows things that we have not thought about,
Mm, yeah.
and so more to come about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, currently all of us, we know that we from one day to another literally woke up in a new narrative. And there was some time that everybody is, so to say, sticked to the version that all of us, we sit in the same boat. Maybe
Mhm.
still different boats, really depending on the region, depending on the continent, depending, not even the continent, sometimes the district in the town. And how actually can people currently really, especially in the travel agencies and
Mhm.
travel industry in general, face the future with, lots of hope in terms of, hey, we are going to have still lots of guests from different corners of the world. How
Yeah.
do you actually offer the cultural, intercultural programs right now?
Right. So yeah, my two cultural programs touch directly the staff, right? So in hotels, the staff in all departments, the kitchen, the front desk, the housekeeping, everyone, because they have to speak the same language and they have to give the same service customized with excellence. But of course, because we can't necessarily touch all customers, correct? So we start with that. And what I'll tell you what happened during the pandemic, which I've presented it as the biggest culture shock that we could have all gone through, and look at it this way. It's a good thing we're going through the same culture shock. So we can really relate on how hard to go through change. And change was the biggest word, right? So that's why you've heard my keynote for CETA US last year at the conference, stretching into change, how to deal and move ahead of the crisis. And so the travel industry as an opportunity to reboot, to really reboot and change a lot of things. Obstacles were opportunities. What I loved about it is that we all were put on pause and really paid attention to what was going on. And that's why you have, this right here, right? Truly see nature, see the world, and listen to the world, speak out loud, help. But, everybody was saying, oh, the earth is asking for help. And I said, but at the same time, say, see me for what I am. Take care of me, take care of yourself. So self-care, another SC, so important. So the travel industry has taken a little shift that actually customers showed before travel really started. Air travel, cruise line just started a couple of months ago. People were taking little road trips, little staycation, right? Staying at home, going to a park nearby, riding a bike. So the back to basics, travel, connecting with friends, family, what that did for the travel industry is having people see the bottom of the iceberg, Joanna. And we know that the iceberg is, I always say to people, when moving to the Caribbean or moving to Florida is no vacation, or moving to the Caribbean is no paradise, right? We see only the top of the iceberg. We try the food, the bread, etc. So the bottom is what people are starting to do. And we were talking about boats. Now, people are very wary, and some will go to the big cruise ships that take 3,000 people. But now people are looking for a more quaint experience, not just a vacation. People are going, like within the US, which is an amazing country, just like Europe is an amazing continent. People can get the ocean, they can get mountains, right? And people are really connecting with nature and not just the all-inclusive eat, drink, watch shows type. So there's a shift there, absolutely. And that's what I like about your analogy of boats, which I've seen before, right? There's going to be now more service customized for people to have new experiences. And this is where, when you said travel agents actually are getting a new life, because you know that with all the technology, we use Booking.com, Expedia, and I've actually worked directly with Expedia, and I love all those servers. But the one thing that's lacking sometimes, some are better than others, is that person, right? That human connection, that voice. Again, I'm doing this there. This is telling us, right? To say to really pay attention, observe what's happening, learn. There's a shift, there's change. Things are not going to go back to normal, because normal is not evolution. Evolution is change, and that's what's happening.
Definitely, yes. And when we met in Paris, actually, we were also talking a little bit about, how it's possible to also work with stories, so that it's not only about telling our own stories as a coach, as a trainer or educator in general, but also how you can empower people, encourage people to share their own stories and also to learn from each other. What is your golden recipe?
Well, there's one thing that we have against us, which I quickly said, okay, that's we have confidentiality with all our clients. So we can't tell their stories, okay? However, every time I'm in a conference room or, you know, a training room, seminar, or one-on-one, I tell my participants that the reason why I do this work is because my experiences, but also because I learn from my participants, and that today I will learn something about them, and they will tell me a story that's going to become a new intercultural aha moment that they did not even realize that they had it in them. It could be moving from one state to another, right? From North Italy to South Italy, right? From one side of Germany to the other. And they go, oh, that's what's intercultural. That's what transitions are. So what I've done, of course, I would take their stories. I said, I will tell the story again. We'll take your name and your company, but this is an amazing story. So for me, it's truly, again, this, I keep on repeating it, but sometimes people just don't get it. It's a simple recipe: build relationship, build trust. That creates experiences, and that creates stories. So that's truly, for me, I'm an extrovert. So speaking to people, networking, you know, starting a dance at a gala, you know me, picking up a mic and singing, I have no problem. But it took me a while. I saw the benefit in that, which is important, because I'm not the only one that had, you know, that doubt. I would say that fear, but that I'm not quite sure, right? That limited belief. Story allows us to imagine something, to connect, to relate to it somehow, and say, oh, that could be me, right? There's always a little something that either we relate to it personally, or we have a little empathy and compassion for the story.
Yeah, thank you for emphasizing, because it is exactly the point that we also listen to the stories through our own cultural lens, so through our own cultural perspective.
Exactly.
So this is also really very, very interesting, that sometimes, especially when we are not familiar with another cultural circle, let's put it this way, we really need more context, and story is definitely this possibility really to get it, in this really very, very natural human way, because we are wired to listen to stories and also to tell stories. But
Exactly.
Patricia, you know, many people currently share also one story, so that they are really very, very hopeful regarding going on holiday. And you have mentioned before we clicked the record button that your Globaliscious program has got really fantastic option, so that you make traveling also easier. What are your three top hints for the travelers who are courageous enough to leave the house and to go on holiday? You are such an experienced traveler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, and I've created, language and culture programs for youth. Of course, that stopped since 2020. Now we take youth from 15 to 16 to create experience of language and culture. Coming to the US, for example, Globaliscious retreats, whether they're here in the US, in Europe, or the Caribbean, connecting to the history, understanding colonization, or, for example, understanding the Black experience. So I tell people, take small steps, just like anything, because what's happening right now, I don't know if you've ever seen reports of the news on Black Friday, on how Black Friday is in the US. When they open stores, all of a sudden people have been waiting and people just rush. That's what's happening right now, Joanna. People have been confined, people couldn't travel. It's summertime. And of course, you know, the COVID-19 is going back up, but people need to go, and they take chances. They step on the most important resources, which is other people. And in this case, they're not careful. So the biggest, right now, I really tell people to take small steps, to prepare, to be spontaneous is my middle name. So it's not for everybody, right? Even I, with the travel industry experience that I have, I truly pay attention, read everything. If you book an airline ticket, you know, pay attention to the emails that you get. You know, we get so many emails that we delete. And now those airlines are sending you an email saying that to enter this country coming from that country. This is a new part,
Mm-hmm.
right? Going someplace, or if you get to France, you know, you get there, you go to this terminal, you go to the, but coming from here to go there, if you go to Paris Charles de Gaulle from your city and two of us are coming from different cities, it will be a different process.
Yes,
and that's
definitely.
new. That's
Mm-hmm.
new. So people really need to pay attention, you know, again, that's why the eye is there. Pay attention, read carefully, learn, slow down. And you probably saw my Facebook, you know, page was saying, you know, it's vacation, ready to travel, ready, set, wait, you know, take one little step, and truly realize that vacation is not about rush. So take a vacation mindfully, take your time. Don't go to places that require long lines. I mean, you know, I'm very proud of our parks in the US, the Disney parks, Universal Studios. They've done an amazing job with social distancing. Not every institution does that. So people are taking, again, chances, especially going to new areas. So taking small steps, informing yourself, checking again. It's just like going to a place where they drive on the other side of the road, not the wrong, right? The other side of the road. I say, when you go to places like England, South Africa, British Caribbean, like Jamaica, when you cross the street, don't do like France and just look this way, right? Just go this, and this, because that's how quickly something will come. So it's really taking it easy, but go somewhere, you know, and a brand new place is not the moment. That's what we say. A brand new place is not the time, unless it's extremely well organized with tour operators and, you know, guides and a travel agent. But you just book a flight now to go, you know, across the world to a place you've never been, you don't speak the language, it's so many obstacles, so many. I mean, look at the Olympics are starting tomorrow, and going to Japan right now, from one day to another, it could be canceled. I'm crossing fingers that it's not, but you know, that's how, so why plan that far, that long, and that much money, which is, again, talking about culture shock, that's another thing, right?
Definitely. And actually, there is also one more dynamics that comes to my head when I listen to you, that it's not so much about where we go, but with what kind of mindset we go over there. Because, you know, normally when people hear rest, many of us reduce it just to, oh, okay, I will finally, eventually have time to sleep enough. However, it's just one possibility to rest. We know that there are much more: the physical rest, the mental rest, really to switch off all these devices. Have a rest from social media, have the rest from so many things that distract us. And actually, one of these possibilities to rest is also social rest. So also this conscious decisions, who I want to meet on my holiday or who I want to spend this time with, and also the creativity. So this creativity, you know, kind of, I don't know, maybe to go to the museum or to a nice gallery, maybe even to draw or paint on your own, and so on and so forth. So, you know, this is also this time really to re-narrate, so to say, the value of holiday, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, for people who want to go to Europe, I always tell them, say you arrive in Paris, you go through the jet lag, you relax, you sleep in, and then in a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days, you get in a train, right? Don't take a car rental. You know, we're so US minded. I'm not speaking for the US. Get your car, individualism, go here, go there, do this, do that. No, you need to be, like it's a being culture, get into your train. And now some of the recommendations that we're making is, find a workshops to draw. Draw with next to the Sacré-Cœur. Go to the countryside and go pick fruits with the farmers. You know, go learn how to make bread. I mean, and those more and more Airbnbs and Jeets, etc., they do create those little experiences. So I think that I do know that the travel industry has changed so much to connect people better and to really learn from the culture. And that's why my retreats are all about the true culture. You're not going to just be served a meal. You would have picked a fruit, or you may have picked the chicken that's going to be in your plate later, right? That's
yeah, yeah.
depends on what people are willing to do. But it's really connecting with the lifestyle, the customs of the culture, and truly appreciate a lot better. And you come back more relaxed and the getting in line and visiting. I love, for example, the Louvre Museum, but I tell people it will take 4 days to truly see the Louvre, not
The
1 day.
minimum.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
minimum, right?
yeah.
But we tried to do so much
Yeah.
because we came from so far away and we don't realize the power of one experience over many quick ones where we don't see much, very superficial visits.
Yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. So actually, we are traveling to Italy, and I have just heard that Italy has got also this fantastic project, and that, of course, it's not completed so far. Nevertheless, the idea is there, and we all know that whenever we have the idea, the metaphor, this, sparkle, then this is the beginning of a good story. And this story is going to be really fantastic because there has been a decision made that
Yeah.
this wonderful collection at the Uffizi Gallery is going
That's
to be
right.
spread in different corners of Tuscany, in different smaller museums. And I was so delighted when I heard it. I said, oh, wow, this is so good
Amazing.
because, of course, we can go to these huge museums, However, on the average, people are overwhelmed
Right.
after more or less 1 hour. It depends on the
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you
Exactly.
are simply so much immersed in this world, yeah, that you cannot really appreciate it any longer. And when you
You
have
can't.
smaller collections and really, one really important
Right.
piece of art, this experience is much, much different.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying this because that's where more countries should do that. Our last retreat in Argentina, or last retreat of 2019 before the COVID-19 hit, we went to Argentina and I'm telling you, I didn't spend a day in Buenos Aires. It was all small towns. Just same that Italy, we're speaking about Italy. I've never truly been in Milan like people have been to Milan. I came through Rome and got into a
Mm.
train and then went to a smaller Marche region. And I love the fact that learning a culture through the small towns
Mhm.
is so powerful. And that's why I can't wait for, the Olympic Games, because showing you different pieces of the world through people, through how they see competition, how they see collaboration, how they see sportsmanship. And I'm not being biased at all, but the one event that I love the most is the Tour de France. I love bicycling, but I love the Tour de France because I'm traveling through France in front of my TV. Like you literally, same
Yeah.
thing, right? You see the little towns and the church and the boulangerie. And as I just said, again, my family is from Bretagne. So I'm very, very country oriented when it comes to France. And
Yeah.
I think that more countries should do that. So have this, yeah. So that's a great idea that Italy has, and hopefully we'll take it as an honor to see that the rest of the world copies it because it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, isn't it? I loved it.
Yeah.
So, Patricia, you're also emphasizing so much, this take it easy, back to the roots, so to say, back to
Mm-hmm.
nature. What was actually this one word that was really meaningful for you during the tough COVID time?
Mm-hmm. A lot of times when we talk about that, we think about resilience. For me, it was to persevere, which would build resilience. Persevere was something that I had to do. Persevering meaning that no matter what happens, keep going, keep
Mm.
moving forward, right? Just like the current. And funny enough, just a couple days ago, I was in the ocean and the waves were taking me. The current were taking me like north of my stuff. I was looking at my chairs and stuff. And I was saying, this is my metaphor, persevere, but don't fight the ocean. You're not going to win, Miss Patricia, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
So just float and slowly go with it. And the wave will come and go under and breathe. I always, thought, wow, I can see how somebody would drown because that current just really to get you to panic. it takes all your strength, and you really got to take it easy. You have to work through the hard times, through the tough time you have, and so you can't always choose not to go with the flow, right? Because it's going to take you someplace you don't want to go. But sometimes you have to work with the current, not against the current. And that's for me to persevere. And that helped me through, I had expats and international students stuck. My biggest story was a man, Indian man, who had just moved to the US, and the wife was going to come in just 4 months because they just had a baby. And she was not ready to come yet, and they were separated for 18 months. 18. So yes, yeah, it just came. Yeah, he just literally was able. He didn't want, with COVID, even if you can finally travel, you have this fear, right, of getting on a plane, etc. So it was short of 18 months. So yeah, literally just was able to travel, and to persevere, how, to find the good and what can I do, count your blessings, what's good about this, and when people hear me say this in coaching, so what's great about this? So to persevere is truly my word, because I saw resilience and strength being born in people who were falling apart, and behind those people you have the rest of the family, and then the company, the team and the bosses. It's just all of this coming at you. And you have to stay strong, and you have to keep on, working, studying in very challenging times. Sometimes people will forget we're in a pandemic and, demanding things to happen. So again, my natural compassion and empathy took precedent to everything, to the point where I was even working for free. I said, don't worry about it. Let's just do this. Let's get you right. And it's planting the seeds, because now things are picking up again and business is good. But to persevere, and you need somebody by your side who knows how to do that, so that they can coach you into doing it, right? So the walking the talk, is important. And as a persevere, I tell people, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable and say, I do have those weak moments, and those weak moments made me stronger. Thank you for that, but not staying in that weak moment that's gonna, that's gonna get you to just fall apart, right? So I always say failing is not falling apart, right? So failing is just getting an opportunity to try again, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Patricia. You have been sharing so many insights, so many encouraging words, and also many, many stories I'm grateful for. So I wish you, of course, lots of energy for all your projects, all your upcoming projects.
Thank you.
And I really hope we are seeing each other on whatever continent, but that we can make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, we always find a way. And I thank you for, again, I could turn this camera around and ask you the question, but great stories come to somebody who get it out of you. And so you really led the conversation in a way that made me comfortable to share stories. And that's what you do beautifully too. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have
You're
a
welcome,
wonderful
my dear.
day. Take care.
Thank you. And happy and great vacation yourself. Okay. Remember, self-care. SC.
Yes, Miss Globaliscious.
Stay globalicious. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you. Merci, Livia.